Mazzone, Allure Senior Beauty Editor, and I am thrilled to be joined today by Daniela de los Santos, a skin educator with Dermalogica, one of my favorite brands. Thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, thank you so much. We're so excited to be here with Allure in New York City. It's fabulous.
And sunny New York City today.
It's so beautiful.
Oh my goodness, it really is. Though the air out there is thick, and I feel like when I come in from being outside, all I want to do is get off the dirt and the grime, and I love to exfoliate in order to do that. Could you define exfoliation for those who might not know?
Yeah, you know, it's funny. Exfoliation is one of the key steps to your skincare routine. It's super important. Our skin is really naturally designed to exfoliate itself. But what's funny about it is that as we age, that process kind of starts to slow down. And what we end up with is dead skin cells that are kind of stacking on top of each other. And that's really contributing to why we end up with like dull, lackluster looking skin. So exfoliation is a great way for us to kind of mimic that natural process and kind of, you know, help our skin a little bit when it starts to slow down. So it is such an important part of helping your skin to breathe and get rid of the dirt, the makeup, the debris.
Totally. How often should one be exfoliating?
You know, there's different exfoliants are designed for different, you know, uses. So I feel like if you're on the more sensitive or sensitized side, you know, for your skin type or concern, you might want to think about exfoliating only like once a week or just exfoliating with something super gentle. Some exfoliants like a physical or a chemical should only probably be used about like once a week or twice a week because you don't want to over exfoliate. Also, there's kind of such thing as like overdoing it a little bit. So you want to be careful.
I've definitely been guilty of that. And then my skin will break out because I've compromised that skin barrier.
That's
which is so important.
Exactly. And you can actually cause pigmentation or sensitization in the skin because it needs time to heal and kind of regenerate. But it's an important part of the routine, and I feel like that's what's going to give you that smoother appearance. It's going to help with things like fine lines, texture, unclogging your follicles or your pores, right? And today we're going to talk about Daily Microfoliant, which is one of my favorites, and it's fantastic. This is the Best of Beauty Award with Allure, so we're super excited about that.
Totally.
And this is a wonderful product because this one, for example, is designed for daily use.
Got it.
It's super gentle, and it's especially fantastic. All skin types, all skin conditions can use this, but what's really nice also is that it addresses hyperpigmentation specifically. So it's really nice.
Got it. And you mentioned the words chemical and physical earlier, and to my understanding, Daily Microfoliant is the best of both, but could you define those for us?
Yes, so there's quite a few things when it comes to exfoliation that's important. So there's enzyme-based exfoliants, and those are wonderful for a more sensitive skin type because how they behave is that they just gently eat away at the dead skin cells on the surface of the barrier. So when we say barrier, we're just referring to the skin, right? The top. This is literally the barrier keeping everything in.
Right.
So the enzyme just kind of, I almost refer to it like Pac-Man, and the dots are like the dead skin, right? So they just kind of gently eat away, and it's better for someone who's more sensitive, right, on the skin. Now, you also have the category of physical. So physical is going to be something like a scrub, something that has texture that you're going to be able to physically polish or buff away the dead skin.
You're doing the work with the mechanism.
That's right, exactly. And that does a little bit better for someone who has a more maybe resilient skin, someone who's maybe aging, who needs a little something kind of more heavy duty to buff and polish, right? And then chemical is quite different because you have your alpha hydroxy acids or your beta hydroxy acids that will actually penetrate the skin. So now we're not just working on the surface like a physical or an enzyme would, but rather the chemical is better suited for those who have damage deeper in the skin, and we need to get to that cellular level to kind of correct whatever issue we're trying to you know, depending on the ingredient that we're using. So that's kind of the difference with them. But yeah, I know it can be confusing sometimes, but...
Got it. And then Daily Microfoliant works multiple ways.
Yes, so this is enzyme-based, and it's also physical because we have a little bit of that textured powder, but it's not abrasive, and that's the important thing to take away. So it is a micro polish, and I'm actually going to show you the texture because it's so fun. So powder exfoliants are a little bit different. Some enzymes already come kind of pre-prepared, but this one is different. It's going to come out in a powder form. So we're going to sprinkle a little bit. So you would use about half a teaspoon of this.
Got it.
And it's dry, so these enzymes are not active yet, right? So what we need to do is we have to activate them with water. But the ingredients in here are fantastic. I mentioned this is great for hyperpigmentation, so uneven skin tone. You have rice bran and phytic acid, which is fantastic. And we have licorice here. We have papain, which for those of you that love your ingredients, papain comes from papaya, so that's the enzyme that we have in this formulation. And there's a little bit of salicylic acid as well.
All baked into the powder.
All in here, ready to go. And so you have it in its powder form, but you have to activate the enzymes to work. So we're going to get a little bit of water.
Okay.
It's like a science experiment.
DIY.
We're going to add a little bit of water. Ooh, I'm making a mess. That's okay. And then you're going to want to use this, get this nice and foamy and frothy.
Got it.
So your hands should look like this at your sink.
Nice.
Okay, so you're going to see a little bit of that texture. Do you see that,
Got it.
Dianna?
Yep,
a little
just
bit of the
few little
microfoliant.
powder. Yep.
And then you would work this and buff this into the skin for about 30 seconds to a minute. And that's how you're really going to get that nice result, that smooth, nice appearance. And remember, you guys can use this every single day.
Love it. And is it just circular motions? Do you have any tips for that actual massage?
Light pressure. You don't want to go crazy on your skin and sensitize it. That can often be a problem when you're exfoliating. So yeah, light circular motions. A fun kind of pro tip that I like to tell people about is you can actually also add daily microfoliant into your favorite cleanser at home. Here at Dermalogica, we call that a power cleanse. So you're actually cleansing and exfoliating at the same time. I also love to use this like on a loofah for the body. You can include it in your body wash, which is so nice. And it just gives you that nice little micro exfoliation. It's not too heavy. Again, it's designed for daily use, so it's really wonderful on the skin.
If you get a little exfoliation happy, like that is great. Would you tell me the origin story of daily microfoliant, because I've heard it's a good one?
Yes, it's actually a really neat story. Our founder and chief visionary, Jane Werwind, actually was in Japan visiting, which is cool. And she was, kind of touring and stopped at a rice field. And what she noticed were that women were actually, in these rice fields and dipping their hands in rice water all day, the water that's naturally found, right, in the rice. And she kind of paused and had a conversation with them because she said, your skin is flawless. It's beautiful, it's silk, and it looks like porcelain. And then so through investigating, Jane's really all about the research and development of the ingredients. They found that the rice bran and the phytic acid that the rice water is kind of releasing is what was giving them that result.
Goodness.
So she came back and she said, I want something with that ingredient, and that's how Daily Microfoliant was born. So that's why we have the rice bran and the phytic acid, and it's one of our #1 sellers. It's top product in the brand, and yeah, we're excited to see Best of Beauty Award. Yeah, it's fantastic.
Love it. And we test. I gotta tell you, we are very intensive in our testing process, and these rose to the top.
Yay! Yeah, it's really wonderful, and it's also one of the first powder exfoliants that ever launched on the market. So we're really proud of that, and it's just an overall amazing exfoliant. It truly is wonderful, especially when you're being consistent and using it daily. You're really going to see those results on the skin, so it's really good.
Awesome. Now we're going to be talking about another Allure Award winner, the Invisible Physical Defense Sunscreen.
Yes.
But before we do, I want to welcome you. If you've just joined us, I'm Dianna Mazzone, Allure Senior Beauty Editor, and I'm joined today by Daniela de los Santos, a skin educator with Dermalogica. And Daniela, I think I know the answer, but do tell me, what is the one non-negotiable step in everyone's skincare routine?
You have to wear SPF every single day.
Yeah.
Despite what you've heard or read about, a lot of people think, well, I'm inside, or it's rainy, or it's cloudy.
Right.
I don't need to wear it. But the truth is that the UVA and the UVB, it's coming through every single area. It's coming through the windows. It's outside for sure. It's coming from radiation from your computer, your cell phone. So if you're not protecting the skin, you're really contributing to your own premature skin aging. And that's what we want to avoid. Of course, we're all going to age and age gracefully. It's not about not aging.
Sure.
It's about just looking your best and having the best skin health, which is definitely really important for us when we teach that. Yeah. It should be part of your skin health routine, just like your dental care would be, or your own health care would be. So
absolutely.
It's important.
Yeah. And if you're not wearing sunscreen, correct me if I'm wrong, it kind of negates all the other hard work you're doing with other skincare if you're not applying SPF.
If you're trying to avoid pigmentation, or if you're trying to avoid fine lines and wrinkles, and you're using your amazing serums and your amazing cleansers and all this other hard work that you're putting into it and spending your hard-earned money, but you're not protecting at the end of the routine or not wearing the sunscreen, you're right. It's kind of almost like it's kind of defeating the purpose of everything else you're working so hard to achieve. So it's super, super crucial.
Yeah.
For
Why
sure.
do you think it's such a pain point for people still that we still have to kind of make this point that you need sunscreen every single day?
Yeah, I think sunscreen is hard because a lot of people don't like the smell of sunscreen.
Yeah.
Traditionally, sometimes you end up having like almost like a purple or white cast on the skin with some, physical sunscreens. I think that there's a lot of misinformation, although I feel like in the last few years, of course, we're becoming definitely more savvy and understanding that it's vital to wear it. But I think for those reasons, a lot of people avoid it sometimes, or you're overwhelmed sometimes with the options. What is right for me? So it can be difficult and definitely, I think, a little bit off-putting when it smells funny, or like, you're just overwhelmed by the situation.
Right? Yeah, I always say the best sunscreen is the one you don't mind wearing, and not only do I not mind wearing Invisible Physical Defense, it's so pleasant that's what earned it that Allure Best of Beauty Award, because it is so lovely to apply. What makes it so special in your mind?
Yeah, I love this product. Invisible Physical Defense SPF 30 was really important for us to formulate. We spent a lot of time on it because of those things, right?
Yeah.
We wanted to make something that was ultra sheer on the skin, that was going to protect also against both UVA and UVB radiation, and it is physical only, and that's really a hard task because, again, you have that white cast traditionally, or that purple cast, especially on your deeper skin tones, and that's really important. So we, of course, test against every single skin type and skin tone to make sure that it's going to be ready for launch. And this is really amazing too, because not only did we get ultra sheer zinc oxide here, and I'll show you in just a second how it's going to blend, but we also have our antioxidant properties. There's green tea in here, and so it's so soothing, it's so luxurious, it's great for all skin types, skin conditions, and I just love it. It's a really special little neat product.
Absolutely. And it has the word physical right in its name.
Yes.
Could you define physical?
Yeah. So that, I think, sometimes is also hard to understand when we're thinking of what type of sunscreen. And there's two types. There's physical and then there's chemical. And with physical, you'll know that it's a physical sunscreen because there's only 2 FDA approved minerals that we use. So it's zinc and then titanium dioxide. So if you pick up a label and you turn it around and you're like, is this chemical or physical? Which one is it? If you see zinc or titanium dioxide, that's how you know that that's a physical or a mineral sunscreen. And those work on the skin by applying the sunscreen to the surface. And what happens is, it's when exposed to UV radiation, it's going to kind of hit that sunscreen, and that UV ray is just going to bounce right off. Chemical is different because when you put the chemical sunscreen on, it's going to absorb into your skin. That UV ray is going to hit it. It's weird. It's going to create like a little bit of heat and energy, and then kind of like deflect or burst or shatter, if you want to think about it that way, the UV radiation away. But what happens a little bit sometimes with with chemical sunscreens on the skin is that that heat that's being produced can cause a little bit of sensitivity in a more sensitive skin type. So that's why sometimes having something physical, which is not going to cause that reaction, is a little bit better suited for a more sensitive skin type or concern.
Got it, because it's a true physical
barrier. It's a physical
Mm-hmm.
barrier, exactly.
Got it.
It's important to also note with sunscreens that nothing is going to protect or be able to filter out the radiation 100%.
Sure.
It's just acting as a filter.
Mm-hmm.
Sunscreen is super important to reapply.
Yeah.
That's the main thing, because it does you also no good, right? To put it on and then forget. So it is a little hard, I know, with all the rules of it, but once you get into a nice little habit of your routine, it's important, like we talked about.
It. Totally. Yeah, I would love to see how this blends
Let
in.
me show you guys. So Invisible Physical Defense, again, SPF 30. What's super special is it turns invisible.
Amazing.
So I'm going to give you a little bit. You can work that into your skin.
Okay.
And you do want to buff it into the skin for just a second.
Yep.
And of course, we're different skin tones, right? We have different Fitzpatricks and everything. So I'm a little bit of a like Oliver, a little bit olive skin tone here. But you kind of just want to work it into the skin, and you can smell it. Let me know. Do you smell that? No, like sunscreeny smell, right?
Exactly.
It's so nice. And
mine's already disappeared.
yeah, it's completely gone on your skin.
Yeah.
And you just buff it do a nice layer. This is not a moisturizer, so I will say that you do want to put your moisturizer first and then layer on this particular sunscreen. We do make others that have, you know, built-in moisturizer sunscreen. This is just a sunscreen. But you guys can see it's
amazing.
No white cast, completely gone,
invisible.
glowy.
Yeah. Love
it's
it.
nice, yeah.
So
and it'll
nice.
blend invisible on all skin tones.
Nice. And I would assume it layers really nicely under makeup, given that it's barely there.
It wears beautiful under makeup, so you're ready to go. You can even pop a primer on top of this because your sunscreen is your last step in your skincare routine. And then if you're doing makeup, you go into your primers and your foundations, etc. So it will wear super lovely under your makeup. No like worry about, oh, I have this like white stuff all over my face. No, it's wonderful. Yeah, it really is.
Really incredible. Wow. Well, Danielle, before we wrap up, is there one lesson you want to tell the world about skincare? One message you could put out there?
You know, I think it's just about try not to get overwhelmed. You know, skincare can sometimes be really overwhelming. And I think it's just about having something really, you know, a good product to wash your face. I always say this, you cannot treat the skin if the skin is dirty. So invest in something really, you know, a nice cleanser to wash all that makeup, dirt, debris away. Exfoliation is one of the key things that you can do in your skin to really get the quickest results. So it's going to get rid of, you know, dull skin. It's going to unclog the pores. It's going to help with pigmentation and mimic that natural exfoliation to give you that smoother texture on the skin. And then remember, after all of that hard work, please wear your sunscreen because there's, you know, you're investing all that time, your hard-earned money, like I mentioned, and you know, you want to protect the skin and keep it as healthy and vital as possible. So. Yeah. That's the lesson, I think.
Exactly. Thank you so much,
Thank
Daniela.
you. Thank you for having us.
Such a treat. If you liked what you heard, be sure to subscribe to Dermalogica's YouTube channel and join the Skincare Collective on Facebook.
Yes, please join us there. We have lots of fun education, much more information on videos on skincare and all of that. So it's wonderful. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you.